This lecture is going to be over Unit 1, Chapter 1, Section 3 of Economics on trade-offs and opportunity costs. And our essential question today will be, how does the analysis of trade-offs and opportunity costs help make us better decisions? So basically, how are we going to make better decisions when we analyze what things will cost us? So trade-offs and opportunity costs, they are similar sounding, and you need to be careful about what each one means. Trade-offs are the alternative choices people face when they have to make an economic decision. So do I want to buy the name brand bread product on the shelf, or do I want to buy the cheaper one? Especially if people are facing uncertain economic times, they might go for the generic off-brand bread choice because it's going to be cheaper and save them money in the long run. Opportunity cost is the cost of the next best alternative among a person's choices. So the opportunity cost could be things like either money, time, or resources a person gives up or sacrifices in order to make that final choice. So when choosing your bread products, what are you giving up? Well, you're giving up your cost of your money. You're saving money if you go for the cheaper choice versus if you go for the more expensive name brand, for example. We also use decision-making grids and things like that to help come up with your economic choices. So this one is about if you're going to go and do CDs, concert tickets, a cassette player. However, this is really outdated. A soccer ball and jeans. And Jesse's going to have to decide using a whole bunch of different decisions what that will be. So the cost is $50 or less. How durable is it, which means will it last for a long time? Will my parents approve of it? Will I have to spend any future money on it? And can I use it any time? And you can see how Jesse is answering based on those decisions for each of those products. Production possibility frontier, or curve, sometimes as it's called. This is a way to help actually diagram and illustrate that idea of an opportunity cost. It shows the combination of two goods and or services that can be produced when all productive resources are used. And then just so you know this, usually production possibility frontier diagrams, they only show you a combination of two things to keep it simple and not overwhelm people and get it confusing. So it's always going to be between two products. So in this diagram, it's showing that the more wine we produce, the less cotton we can produce. The more cotton we produce, the less wine we can produce. We're always doing some kind of trade-off. And then here you can see an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. So if it's the XY, we're going to talk about this one first, the X. The X coordinate means it's inside the curve. It's an inefficient use of resources. And some examples of why it's inefficient, we could be going into a recession or a depression. People aren't buying things, there's a layoffs. Also, it could be that in California, we can grow wine really well and wine grapes. However, other places in the country, like the deep south, let's just say Mississippi, their climate is not conducive for wine growing. It's better for cotton. However, like Mississippi and Alabama and places like that, they see how California is making a lot of money on wine, so they decide they want to also produce their own wine grapes. By doing this, though, they find out that it isn't going to work out for them and they lose a bunch of money on what they've invested. So that's why it's inefficient resources. Now for the Y curve, like the Y point out here, this one is outside the curve. It's impossible with the current resources. So this means that you can't reach it based on the available resources you have on hand right now. Now, maybe if there's a bumper crop of cotton, you can maybe produce more stuff with cotton, but right now you don't have that and you can only work with what you have. Points A, B, and C, these are all doable with the resources you have on hand. A is for wine, B is for halfway between wine and cotton, and C is more like cotton here, but less wine here. So you're choosing along the ways. You typically will hear about this as the guns and butter model. So economists use it a lot. And they're saying that we have a make-believe country that only produces military goods or consumer goods. And they're trying to decide the guns would be the military spending and the butter would be the consumer domestic product. The PPF diagram shows all the combinations of both of these that are possible. And that's this example here. And then points E and D, again, are those ones that are outside the curve. And then the opportunity cost here shows you that if you produce 100 units of butter, you're giving up 30 units of guns. Overall, the opportunity costs and things like that, and the trade-offs are a combination of the production possibility frontier. And then economic growth, remember how I said if you have more resources suddenly available, then you can go to that outside point, D in this case, or Y in the other one. And then thinking like an economist, building simple models helps economists analyze or describe those actual situations. That's why we have things like the decision-making charts or the production possibility frontier curve. It's a way of helping us visually see what our resources would be best used as. And then the cost benefit analysis that helps those economists evaluate alternatives by looking at each choice cost and benefit and making the best economic decision to help that country or that company, things like that.